to look at the Alabama sideline when they played Clemson, and we had this, I guess, coming out party for Trevor Lawrence. For the first time that you would see in the 14 years he's been at the University of Alabama, he was disgusted. And the reason why he was disgusted, not only as far as what was transpiring on the field, a little bit as far as what was transpiring on the sideline as far as coaches, as well as what was going on behind the scenes. And what was going on behind the scenes, Mark, in 250 words or less, just plain and simply, you had too many coaches that had the old saying, one foot already out the door, and he couldn't wait for that night to be over. And the one thing when it comes to Coach Saban is that he is forever, for lack of a better way to say it, recreating his style, as in how he runs his offense, how he recruits defensively, and also just as a whole. And the one thing that I feel that with these latest additions, as far as the coaching staff, and I would say specifically as far as with O'Brien and Marone, is that to me it seems as though his goal, because the 20 and 21 classes are on a whole nother level, is that he feels that he's going to be able to get that really, really rarefied air, Mark, and that is when it's all said and done, he leaves there to get 9 or 10 championships. And I think with the 20 and 21 class, as I stated to you before, I would say a gross underachievement if within those two classes they don't win at least 2, because it's too rich in talent, Mark.
I can't say a whole lot about Nick Saban at this point that I haven't stated a number of times, as well as all sorts of other people. It's difficult to overstate his success at Alabama. It just really is. When you talked about his disgust at the mindset of some of his teams, some of the particular players in the locker room and the coaches because of their career aspirations, I really remember that coming to the forefront for the first time that I remember when they lost to Oklahoma in the Sugar Bowl following the 2013 season. And then the next year when they lost to Ohio State in the playoff, that was the first time I remember him trying to hold back and not make it an excuse, but showing his disgust that he didn't believe that his team was locked in and focused as much as they should be because of players' NFL draft aspirations. Well, he is certainly taking care of that. He's just, I believe that ultimately teams reflect their coaches' demeanor, their poise, their preparation, their discipline, all those things. And his teams are clutch. They're clutch under pressure. They are poised. They're fundamentally sound. They're tough. They're determined. It's remarkable what he has been able to do in the last 13 or 14 years. And yes, he's done it at Alabama, but Alabama was not Alabama for a long, long time before he got there. So yes, you have to, regardless of how great a coach you are, you have to be able to work inside an operation that has the money and facilities to give you the opportunity. But there are tons of coaches out there that have been given the keys to similar operations and not been able to pull it off. So he has maximized that Alabama situation, and it just continues to roll with no end in sight.
And lastly, Mark, as far as when it comes to, and this will be the last time I ever speak with you in reference to two particular institutions' quarterback rooms, and that is in reference to the University of Alabama as well as Ohio State. And it's going to be interesting to see who is, or in another way, who is not, is going to be the starting quarterback at both those institutions. Because I believe if Bryce Young is not the quarterback at Alabama, I see him on the first thing smoking back to the West Coast. And if, say, Kyle McCord or if C.J. Stroud is not, then I feel that if he is, Jack Miller's gone. But if he's not, then I think it's a possibility they could possibly lose 2 quarterbacks, and then the only guy would be the young man from Texas. So instead of having 4 quarterbacks, Texas will have 2. Not Texas, excuse me. Ohio State will have 2, but then on the other hand, Alabama will still have 3.
Part of the deal now that if you're recruiting at that level, you're recruiting players, especially at that position, that are anticipating that they're going to play because they have NFL aspirations, and therefore you're recruiting at that level. So you have that type of competitive, talented athlete coming into the quarterback room. And so if you stack 3 or 4 of them, they can't all play. It's the only position where you only have one guy. So you're going to lose some of them. So I think the only strategy, well, there's a number of strategies, but the one obvious strategy to recruiting at that position is just staggering the years and understanding, okay, well, if this happens, then we'll have him. If this happens, we'll still have those two. And you basically have you play the shell game and understand, okay, if this scenario happens, who do we have and what years of experience do we have in play? And just understanding that at those institutions recruiting that type of 5-star talent at quarterback, that you're going to lose one every year to 2 years, probably going forward the way this is playing out. But you've stacked them up so many that you're always going to have a couple on the roster that are that good, and nobody else does, or few teams do.
Yeah, that is true. That is true.